But unfortunately, each of us have also encountered some defining moments that have been damaging and devastating. Times of sickness and death, discouragement, doubt, and defeat that have literally sucked the life out of us. Somebody that you loved was taken away, or they just walked out of your life, and you decided that you would never love again. Someone that you trusted betrayed you or hurt you for no apparent reason, and you decided that you would never allow anybody to get that close to you again. Someone made you feel unloved, unwanted, unworthy, and now you go through life always expecting to be rejected, to be forgotten, to be overlooked. Something you believe would happen didn't happen, and you decided that there was something wrong with you that could never be changed. Defining moments. You see, the difficult truth is that although we have all been shaped by the accumulation of these defining moments, far too many of us have accepted that we have to live with the emptiness, with the pain, with the brokenness forever, because it's simply an aspect of who we are. So rather than crying out to the Lord, help me, heal me, save me, fix me, restore me, revive me, we hold on to it. You know, John chapter 11 states that Jesus loved Mary, Martha, and their brother Lazarus. So when Lazarus became sick, they immediately sent word to Jesus to come as quickly as possible. But the Bible says that Jesus delayed his departure. So by the time he arrived, Lazarus was not only dead, but he had been dead for 4 days. When Mary saw Jesus, she was so full of grief that all she could do was just run and fall down on her knees and cry out, if you had just been here, if you had come when we called you, if you had just showed up before it was too late, my brother would not have died. The death of their only brother was a defining moment for Mary and Martha. A defining moment that came to steal their assurance that Jesus loved them, to kill their faith that Jesus had the power to heal, to destroy their trust in what Jesus had promised. Nevertheless, in this difficult, defining moment, Jesus spoke to them and said in John 11:23, your brother will rise again. In other words, although Lazarus' death seemed to be a defining moment, if they could just believe, there was a greater and more powerful defining moment to come. But in order to experience it, they had to be willing to go with Jesus to the place where Lazarus was buried. And when they came to the grave, it was sealed. So Jesus commanded them to roll the stone away. And when he said that, Martha began to protest, because after 4 days, she was sure that his body was rotting and stinking. But what this moment reveals to us that Martha could not see is that if she wanted to experience the glory of God, she had to be willing not only to return to the place that represented death and defeat. but you also roll the stone away and be willing to face the possibility that it might be difficult. And so, when the stone was rolled away, the Bible says Jesus looked into the darkness of the tomb and said, Lazarus, come forth. And in that moment, when they saw Lazarus walking out of the darkness, it didn't matter whether he was stinking or not. The only thing that mattered was that Jesus had brought life in the midst of a dead moment. That Jesus had revived hope out of hopelessness, and that Jesus had restored everything that they had lost. But Lazarus wasn't the only one who was loosed and set free that day. Well, you see, Mary and Martha could have lived the rest of their days bound by the bitterness and the grief and the emptiness that they experienced when their only brother died. And even though it seemed that their faith was defeated in that defining moment, when they surrendered it all to Jesus, their true destiny was released. You see, I believe that they were not destined to be two grieving sisters who had lost their only brother. They were destined to be two women with a testimony. A testimony that is still able to set somebody free today. According to Isaiah 61:3, which proclaims that the Lord is able to console those who mourn in Zion, to give beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. Why? That they may be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he may be glorified. Amen. What is Isaiah saying? And speaking through the lives of Mary and Martha, which is this: when you are in mourning for what you have lost, no one can bring you consolation like the Lord. When it seems that your life has become as hopeless as a pile of ashes, the Lord is able to raise up something beautiful out of the ashes. Well, when you are overwhelmed by sadness and grief, the Lord is able to wipe away every tear and shower you with the oil of his joy. When the heaviness of what you've been through weighs you down, the Lord will cover you with a garment of his praise. You see, our destiny is not to live in defeat, but to rise up as the trees of righteousness.